When you bite into a burger, you aren't just tasting a delicious seasoned ground beef patty situated between a soft, beautiful bun, you're tasting an American icon. For well over a century now, this classic American sandwich has been the most popular food in the U.S., from backyard barbecues to diners and drive-thrus. The burger's legacy is unsurpassed in American culture. But where did this dish come from, and how did it become the American idol it is today? On this episode of Every Last Crumb, we're exploring the history of the hamburger and how it became a dinnertime staple in American households everywhere. The name hamburger is derived from the German city of Hamburg, a food from Hamburg called Hamburger. Imagine that. Known for their high-quality beef, the residents of this city minced beef, seasoned it, and made hamburger steaks. The ground beef was sometimes combined with egg, breadcrumbs, or onions before cooking. The hamburger steak is known to have existed in Germany since the 1600s, but it became more and more popular around the world in the 19th century. Because minced meat was easier to store on a ship, immigrants traveled with this hamburger meat as they migrated to America. In the second half of the 19th century, this dish started popping up on menus and in cookbooks around the Northeast United States. One of the earliest references to the hamburger steak in the United States comes from Mrs. Rohrer's New Cookbook by Sarah Tyson Rohrer in Philadelphia in 1882. This new cookbook was much more popular than her previous Mrs. Rohrer's Old Cookbook. In it, the recipe describes the hamburger steak as a steak shaped from a raw, finely chopped beef, lightly seasoned and then broiled. Around this time, the dish also began appearing on menus in New York. These patties were often served as a budget dish or to individuals believed to be in need of easily digestible food, as the grinding or mincing process was thought to make the meat easier to digest. Who was it that first put cooked ground beef between two pieces of bread? Well, my friends, the answer to that question is quite the can of worms. If you're from Connecticut, or if you trust the Library of Congress, then Louis Lassen invented the hamburger in 1900 when he cooked a beef patty and served it between toast with cheese, tomatoes, and onions. Most people in America don't trust libraries, and if you ask Wisconsinites who invented the hamburger, they will tell you how Hamburger Charlie Negreen of Seymour, Wisconsin, invented the ground beef sandwich when he fried his meatballs in butter and stuck them between two buns at the State Fair in 1885. Frank and Charles Menches also claimed to invent the hamburger in 1885 at the Erie County Fair in Hamburg, New York. The name of the town fits well with their story, perhaps a little too well. Known for their pork sausage sandwiches, the pair ran out of pork and substituted beef. Yet another contender comes from Athens, Texas, where Fletcher Davis, or Old Dave as his friends lovingly called him, supposedly served up a ground beef patty between two slices of bread with a Bermuda onion and a pickle on the side. He then brought the culinary creation to the 1904 World Fair in St. Louis, and this culinary creation supposedly took off. All of this to say nobody knows who first invented the hamburger. It could have happened in all of these places independently of each other. What we do know is that the world is indebted to these culinary pioneers: Lassen, Negreen, Menches brothers, Davis, and the rest of those brilliant enough to stick ground beef between a bun. We salute you. While the original inventor of the hamburger is unknown, what is known is that by the World Fair of 1904, the hamburger was being served to the public at numerous food stands. The St. Louis World Fair is where the hamburger really burst onto the American culinary scene. The exposition was a monumental event showcasing the latest cultural, technological, and culinary innovations with millions of visitors in attendance. Both Fletcher Davis and Charlie Negreen were reportedly at this fair serving up their versions of the ground beef sandwich. Along with hamburgers, other American culinary icons like the hot dog, the ice cream cone, iced tea, and cotton candy were also making their debut to many visitors. Though hamburgers were introduced to the wider public at this time, it would be a couple decades before their popularity started to spread like wildfire. In the early part of the 20th century, many people in the United States viewed beef unfavorably because of The Jungle, an expose written by Upton Sinclair about the horrors of the meatpacking industry. To be fair, early 20th century industrial butchers were pretty grim. In the 1920s, White Castle went on a mission to change people's opinions on beef, and they focused on selling high-quality sliders at an affordable price. It all started in Wichita, Kansas, where Walter Anderson had been operating food stands since 1916. Pressing ground beef into a patty and serving it on a bun, Anderson's sliders were innovative for the area he served, and his food stands were a hit among the locals. In 1921, Anderson partnered with Billy Ingram to open the first brick-and-mortar White Castle establishment where they emphasized cleanliness and efficiency, bringing Henry Ford's concept of the assembly line into the kitchen. White Castle was wildly successful and began opening more locations around the Midwest. To address the concerns about the safety of the ground beef, they made their restaurants all white with stainless steel accents. The cooks wore spotless uniforms and prepared the food where customers could watch, emphasizing the cleanliness of the operation. They also purchased ads in newspapers to promote the hygiene and quality of their product. In another move to inspire confidence in their product, Ingram and Anderson decided to sell their burgers for just 5 cents. This pricing strategy, coupled with the quality and cleanliness of their operation, helped to popularize the hamburger across the country. White Castle's success was the start of the fast food hamburger industry. The company also introduced innovations such as carryout, which was first offered in 1921. They later launched the concept of selling frozen fast food. By 1961, frozen White Castle hamburgers were available in supermarkets, making White Castle a pioneer in the frozen food industry. During the Great Depression, hamburger recipes that stretched the ground beef with onions or breadcrumbs, like the Oklahoma Smash Burger and the Mississippi Slug Burger, became popular. Times were tight because of the Great Depression and rationing from World War II. But after the Allied victory in Europe and Asia, the United States enjoyed an era of prosperity and success. Lunch counters across the country started serving all-beef burgers, and drive-in diners became a popular place to grab a burger and a milkshake. In San Bernardino, California, during the 1940s, Richard and Maurice McDonald owned one such drive-in restaurant called McDonald's Barbecue. That's right, the most famous burger restaurant of all time didn't even start out selling burgers. Instead, they served barbecue sandwiches. Eventually, they restructured their menu to start serving 15-cent hamburgers. Their delicious hamburgers and the efficiency with which they made them caught the attention of Ray Kroc, a milkshake mixer salesman who saw the potential the business had. In 1954, Kroc convinced the brothers to expand the business, and when he opened his first franchise in Des Moines, Iowa, the burger business began booming. Within just a few years, McDonald's had, even despite the thieving plots of the Hamburglar, and by the end of the 1950s, Kroc had opened his 100th store. Talk about a fast mover. That guy opened stores quicker than you can order a double quarter pounder with cheese. Kroc bought out the McDonald brothers just a couple years later, and the rest is history. The rise of McDonald's is in many ways responsible for the hamburger becoming an American icon. The franchise is the most recognizable restaurant in the world, synonymous with America and known for their burgers. Following in McDonald's footsteps was Burger King, who began serving Whoppers in the early 1960s. McDonald's closest competitor in the world of fast food burgers, Burger King, developed a unique flavor of their burgers by using a flame-broiled technique that offered a smokier taste to their patties. The next decade would see Wendy's emerge with their fresh, never frozen square beef patties, and with them came the traditional drive-thru, making the acquisition of burgers even easier for the average American. Soon, fast food burger joints were on every major American intersection. Hamburgers easily became the most popular food in America, a status they retain today as Americans consume over 50 billion burgers a year. Their popularity has since gone global, with fast food establishments serving up burgers on every major continent. Why did Americans fall head over heels in love with the burger? For one, it's a convenient food. As the United States industrialized and urbanized, workers sought quick, cheap, and filling meals, and the hamburger met these needs perfectly. It became a symbol of a busy, prosperous nation on the move. The hamburger is easy to cook, simple to eat, requires no utensils, and is portable. This made it a perfect fit for the fast-paced American lifestyle. The emergence of fast food chains like McDonald's and Burger King further cemented the hamburger's place as an American staple. The convenience of fast food and the ease with which consumers could pull up in their cars and get dinner for their families within minutes made burgers an attractive option anytime mom didn't want to cook. Burgers are also extremely customizable. Each region of the United States has their own unique spin on the hamburger, and it can cater to any number of personal preferences. Whether they're adding cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, bacon, or any other number of toppings, the burger can be tailored to suit a multitude of tastes. Hamburgers have also been historically very affordable. They have always been marketed towards the working class as a cheap meal, and they especially gained a reputation for being an affordable meat option during the Great Depression. Over time, the burger has become more than just a convenient and affordable meal. It has become a part of American identity and culture. From backyard barbecues to diner stops on classic road trips, the hamburger is a fixture of many quintessential American experiences. The influence of American media and the global spread of American fast food chains have further reinforced the association between hamburgers and American culture. Americans take pride in their hamburgers and are proud to share them with the rest of the world. Fast food burger joints still dominate the landscape from small towns to big cities. Fast casual burger establishments like Five Guys, Shake Shack, Hugh Babies, and Smash Burger have come onto the scene and focused on highly customizable burgers made from fresher, high-quality ingredients. In-N-Out, Whataburger, and other fast food joints enjoy cult-like followings. Every restaurant serving casual American fare is bound to have a burger on their menu, and to be taken seriously by American eaters, it better be a good one. Of course, gourmet chefs had to make it fancy by crafting brioche buns and using only the highest quality grass-fed beef. Chefs at five-star restaurants dress their burger with fresh arugula and a handmade garlic mayo, or maybe a cranberry blue cheese. Either way, we're not complaining. While the culinary concoctions can often be delicious, sometimes a burger is best when simplified as much as possible. For most Americans, it doesn't need to be anything elaborate. Sometimes just beef, a bun, and maybe some cheese with ketchup is all you need to hit the spot. What about every style of burger we could find across the U.S.? Watch that video right here.